So those are the guiding principles. This is the one I was talking to you about. Data subject is essentially, let's assume that European Union residents or consumers or the employees or the business customers that we talked about earlier, right? So they have all these rights. Article 15 to 21 specifically talks about what all the rights they have and how they can basically leverage those rights and request you the information that they need, right of access. So they need to, let's say, if you're processing my information, if I reside in EU, then I can request you to give a copy of all my data in terms of where you are storing it, what kind of information you have about me. So what essentially it means is you need to have a method in which you collect this information and make a copy of it and share that with your data subject in this case, right? So typically companies have about 30 days to do this whole thing. So you have to be able to manage all this requests and then process it and then share this with the consumer or your data subject very quickly. Right to rectification, we already talked about it, and then right of erasure and right to be forgotten. That's again one of the important requirement. So they could come in and say, hey, delete all the data that you have about me, period. Right. So that means they are revoking the consent, and then you should go ahead and delete all the information and then provide them a confirmation saying that all the data has been deleted. Right. Right to restrict processing, again, based on the list of things that you have listed on your website in terms of how you process the data. They could request that, hey, process 1 and process 2, I don't want you to do that for my data. So you could do process 3 and process 4. So that kind of granularity that you should be able to manage in terms of your process and determine, okay, so these are the data that I'm not going to be processing for this particular customer request, right? So it has a lot of I would say onerous on the organization in terms of managing this data, making sure they are able to satisfy all this data subject request and stuff. So it is going to obviously increase the cost of operation, especially when you need to comply with GDPR, right? So you need to keep some of these things in mind as you are kind of getting into contract with companies, where you potentially need to handle GDPR type of regulation, right? So what essentially it means is, first question you want to ask is, hey, okay, so do you by default become a processor? And then if you become a processor, what kind of data that you are managing, maintaining, and then how you are going to be handling all this requests that are coming in from the subjects. Right to data portability, again, they can this data needs to be in a structured, say for example, the XML format and stuff. So you should be able to port it from company A to company B. So it should be readily portable. It's not like in some kind of Excel sheet or something, or maybe Excel sheet, but definitely you need to have some way to provide that in a more portable format to your data subjects if they require you to port it. And then right to object. So they could specifically come in and say, I don't want these kind of emails to be coming into me. I want you to stop doing the marketing activities and stuff. So that way, you immediately go and stop it, right? So all these forms need to be one way or the other available on your website for the data subjects to request, and then you need to be able to track these forms and then make sure that you are completing all this request on time. So 30 days is generally the time limit, and then you are not expected to charge any additional fee to the data subject if you are doing any of this processing, right? If the data subject is exercising these rights, you should not be charging them any additional fee for doing all this processing and stuff.
For more information, click on the link below or visit databrackets.com.